G'day guys, I'm Regano. Welcome to part 5 of my WoW beginner guide. In this guide we'll go over dungeons, what they are, and how to do them. Dungeons are an instance or scenario where you'll be in a group of 5 players. Out of the 5 players, there will be 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 damage dealers. You can queue for dungeons at level 15 or higher. The goal of the dungeon is to fight your way through enemies right up to each boss. Dungeons usually have a handful of bosses and a final boss. Each boss you defeat will drop high quality gear. The gear rewards are the main reasons to do dungeons. You'll also receive XP for every enemy and boss you slay, which will help you level up. The final boss of the dungeon will usually drop more loot than average and a large amount of XP. Dungeons are a great way to level, play with friends, gear up, and a nice change if you've had enough of questing. They're pretty straightforward, so after watching this guide, you'll know exactly how to go about dungeons. Once you hit level 15 or higher, you can queue for a dungeon. To do this, you open the group finder window. You can click the bottom right of your screen on the group finder icon, which it looks like a little green eye here, or you can press the I key to open it up as well. You'll see this window here, and click on Dungeon Finder. Once you're on Dungeon Finder, you can select what dungeons you want to queue for. You can queue for specific ones, but I just leave it as random as you get bonus rewards for queuing for a random dungeon, plus some bonus experience. You select your role at the top. For tanking, that's more like a lead role, so I would only choose this once you're more familiar with dungeons and you're a tanking class. Same with healer. It's your responsibility to keep the group alive as a healer, so only queue for this once you're a bit more familiar with dungeons and how they work. No matter what you're playing, just choose damage, because all you have to do is kill things the tank pulls, which I'll explain later. And you might find you like this role more anyway. Once you've selected your role, click Find Group. This will put you in a queue. For damage dealers, the queue is typically several minutes. If you hover over the green eye in your minimap, you can see the estimated queue time, or the average wait time. You can also see how many other roles have been filled for this group. Once it's found all the players, you can then enter the dungeon. The sound of that is as exciting as going to the bottle-o to buy a few stubbies. Once it's up, you can click enter, and you'll enter the dungeon. Alright, and this is what you'll see when we're in. You'll be in a party, and it looks like sometimes you'll join in halfway through, which is pretty much the scenario we've got going here. So on the left here, here's the other people in your party, right? And that's them over there swimming across the lake, leaving me behind. So the tank is pretty much the leader. And if you click on their profile, it will highlight them. And there she is there, walking up. So I'm just going to walk up and do some jump puzzles to catch up to the group. Some dungeons will have a few little puzzles like this around, so most of them don't though. I'm not sure why this one's so special. But basically you try and jump over the gaps, don't fall down because then you've got to swim all the way back up. And then you're with the group. I hope I'm with the group. Where did they go? Oh, here they are. So you can see them on your minimap as well. There's little dots. And you'll notice the dots are different colours. Each colour represents a class. Alrighty, so the rest of the group's scattered as they're waiting. And once the group's here, we'll start fighting. Now, as a damage dealer, you don't want to just blindly pull things by attacking them. You don't want to attack anything until the tank starts attacking. Because you want the enemies to attack the tank and not you. Because you'll die very easily, whereas the tank can take a lot of damage. So now that she's pulled, I'm going to start attacking this enemy.
Too far away.
And I have no idea where it went. Oh, some enemies will literally teleport to the furthest away player. And this is not supposed to happen, I don't think, but we'll just roll with it. There's the turtle coming back. And the tank's just pulled it back. And as a damage dealer, you basically just want to burn things down, help the group kill stuff.
Finish him.
And you're trying to kill the little ads first, and then when the boss is there, you focus the boss down. Now this turtle is a boss, so once we kill it, it should drop some nice gear. Alright, down it goes. If you go and loot it, sometimes you'll get a piece of gear, but sometimes not. Usually one rare piece of gear will drop for one party member. In this case, this player got the rare piece of gear, which is specific for their class. You continue killing things as the tank pulls them, and try and stay with the tank. Don't wander off in a random direction, and don't attack random things. You'll just end up dying or killing the entire group, in which case they won't be too happy with you and will probably kick you out. And that's pretty much all you gotta do with dungeons. You just follow the group and kill things and get loot and XP. It's pretty, it doesn't really require much attention while you level. Dungeons do get harder at max level though. They do have dungeons called Mythic Pluses, which are timed dungeon runs. And the higher the level, the better the gear, but the harder they are. Enemies have more health and the timer gets lesser and lesser the higher levels you go. But they are a lot of fun, and if you love dungeons, it's something that you can get into at max level, and the gear rewards can be exceptionally great. Now you can see here I've got a target attacking me. That means that the tank has lost aggro and now they're attacking me, which isn't supposed to happen. Normally if that happens, you got to try and run to the tank, and so the tank can get that mob attacking them instead of you, otherwise you may die. If you've got a good healer though, they might be able to keep you up until the mob is dead. So we just continue killing things as they come out. This is where you just use your fun spells and AoE abilities. Sometimes you'll see skulls appear next to the target. That's a player assigning the priority kill target. You want to focus down that target first, because some targets are more important than others. Oh, I've accidentally pulled something. If this happens, you can try and crowd control it. As a mage I can turn it into a sheep, and that keeps them off me until the tank can pull it to them. Now if I didn't do that with quick thinking, I probably would have died, as I lost health really quickly when this person was attacking me. And that's another boss. When the bosses die, they have a nice big shiny light above them like that. So make sure you loot those. And look at that, I got some rare gear. Remember, rare gear is in blue text like that, and it's usually very good quality gear. And it's an upgrade for me. When I hold shift over it, it gives me green stats. That's what you want. So that's pretty much the purpose of dungeons, is to go in and get gear upgrades, as well as lots of XP. At the end of the dungeon you'll get a big amount of XP, and you'll be able to loot the last boss or last chest. And you'll usually get a piece of gear out of it. Gotta make sure there's room in your bag there. And you can finally loot it and whack it on. After the dungeons finish, everyone will leave the group. To do that, you right click on your own profile picture in the top left and click Leave Instance Group. And it'll teleport you back out into the world where you were when you entered the dungeon. Just like this. After you've finished a dungeon, you can queue for another straight away if you wish. Simply open up the group finder and queue up again. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide. You now know how to do dungeons. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If this guide helped you, please leave a like and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my content. For other guides like this, check the description below. This is Raganak, and I'll see you next time.